Autumn, 1888. In the heart of London's East End, a place of poverty, shadows, and despair, a nightmare begins to unfold. 5 lives, brutally cut short. 5 names, forever tied to a mystery that still haunts us today. 5 ordinary women whose stories might have vanished into history had their deaths not been marked by unimaginable violence. Polly Nichols, mother of 5, trapped in a cycle of poverty and alcoholism, found murdered at dawn on August 31, 1888. Annie Chapman, widowed and struggling, discovered on September 8, mutilated beyond recognition. Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Eddowes, killed on the same night, September 30th. Both throats cut, Catherine's body savagely mutilated. Mary Jane Kelly, the final victim, murdered on November 9th. Her body so horrifically mutilated it was almost unrecognizable. 5 victims, united by fate. Women living on the edge of society, forgotten and cast aside. The investigation faltered from the very start. Scotland Yard was powerless against a killer who struck swiftly, with terrifying precision, and vanished into the night. And so terror clung to the fog of the East End. A city that prided itself on empire and progress suddenly realized a bitter truth. Its streets were not safe. Law, order, justice, none could stop the faceless murderer the world would come to know as Jack the Ripper. The killings stopped as suddenly as they began, and the killer seemed to disappear without a trace. The mystery only deepened. More than a century later, Jack the Ripper remains less a man than a myth, an enduring symbol of cruelty, fear, and the darkness lurking in human nature. But the story is not just about the Ripper. It is about Polly and Annie, Elizabeth, Catherine, and Mary Jane. Women who lived, struggled, and deserved to be remembered, not for the way they died, but for who they were. Who were the women of Whitechapel? What were their stories? What did they mean to the community? How were they connected to each other? And most importantly, how were they murdered? And what can their deaths tell us about the Victorian era in which they lived? Join me as we peel back the layers of this gruesome mystery and bring to light the forgotten stories of the women of Whitechapel, their humanity, their dignity, their very names. For they were not just victims. They were daughters, sisters, mothers, friends. They were individuals with dreams, hopes, and a right to walk the streets of London without fear. But they lived in a time and place where their voices were silenced, their lives cheapened, and their deaths exploited. Their story is a tragedy that goes beyond the brutality of the crimes and speaks to the heart of our shared humanity.